So, welcome back to, I think now, our third digital breakfast in the beautiful garden of England in sunny Kent. I'm Nick Hall, I'm the founder of the Digital Tourism Think Tank, and I'm here with Ramona, who is our programs director. And today we're going to be talking all about Instagram and how to shape your Instagram strategy as a tourism business or destination. Now, I guess to kick things off, we should give a little bit of context as to where we are. I have to be very honest, the weather that we expected this summer hasn't quite been up to what we were looking for. Hence, maybe not looking as sharp today because I've had to put on a jumper. And we've had to go somewhere a bit covered as well, just to protect ourselves in case we have some bad weather. So where were we? The first digital breakfast we went to the sunny garden of England. The second one we were at the beautiful shoreside in Folkestone by the harbour. And this one we've decided to go to the very popular MacArthur Glen Outlet Centre in the heart of Ashford in Kent. So we thought, let's give you something a bit different. So you can see in the background these iconic shaped roof, which is a symbol of the outlet in Kent. And I have to say, it's a very, very popular tourist attraction. People come from miles and miles to come here. So today we're going to be talking about Instagram. We're going to be kicking off with talking about Instagram strategy. But I guess before we get into that, Ramona, what do you think for you? What is kind of what's gold about Instagram? Why is this a new channel that's exciting and the reason we've decided to cover it?
Well, I think over the couple of years we've really seen that Instagram is just becoming so much more important. I think now they have more than 300 million users across the entire world, and all of the pictures that you find on Instagram are just so powerful, and people really like to share those Instagrammable moments. And I think we also like to see these lovely pictures of different destinations from different angles, and of course with the filters that Instagram offers, you can actually enhance your image as well. So I think a lot of the destinations, especially in Scandinavia, have really embraced Instagram at a really early stage, and now we can see that more and more destinations and also tourism businesses overall are really moving into that space and are really using and embracing that.
So I guess let's get started with some kind of strategic tips and how you might want to start thinking about where Instagram fits into your strategy. I think first of all, it's probably worth saying that a lot of successful businesses are already working with Instagram. So some businesses will have had huge success, and if that's the case, we want to hear from you. So make sure you tweet think_tourism, #digitalbreakfast, and we really want to hear what your experience of Instagram has been. Give us a link, share with us some of your examples of some of the great work you're doing. And what we're going to be covering in today's short digital breakfast is some great examples that we've managed to dig up that we think are really interesting to share. And I guess starting with Tourism Australia. Tourism Australia are really, really one of the leaders when it comes to a travel brand on Instagram. They have thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of followers, I think even millions of followers. So they're really one of the biggest and most successful tourism brands on Instagram. I guess it's not hard to see why. Australia is, it's a beautiful destination. It has some really iconic imagery that can go with that. But I think what's important, and when we talk about strategy here, is to understand how, as a destination, they have shifted their approach in general to presenting that destination. And this is really what Instagram is about. So traditionally, a destination and a business would send a professional photographer out and about to capture the destination, to create the official view of the destination. And of course, there is still a role for that. It's not gone. I actually have a photography background myself, so I have to defend the industry a bit there. But what people are really looking for now is more of a creative spin on places. They also want to see destinations through the eyes of somebody that they feel they can click with, that they can relate to. So Instagrammers, these are sort of semi-professional Instagram users, they will be so many different Instagrammers in terms of style, technique, their approach. Some focus on very, very specific things. My favorite, which I always reference, is, you know it, don't you?
Yeah.
What is it?
I think it's the underground photography.
No, you got
in
it wrong,
London.
Ramona. It's
Okay,
actually
very wrong.
station photography.
Okay. Yeah, I know the terminology is necessary
yeah.
there. Yeah.
But there's a photographer. He goes out and he just goes around the rail network and he just creates interesting angles. And when you look at it, you don't realize they're stations. And I think this is a good example because it shows how somebody can take something that's relatively mundane and boring and actually turn it into something really fascinating and interesting. And then once you do that and you create a following and you create an interest, people then want to know where that is and they want to go there themselves. So talking about strategy and what Tourism Australia have done, I guess they've probably lowered their budget at very least on their official photographers and up their budget on the Instagram community. And what this really is about is them identifying the most influential and most creative Instagrammers who are creating content about Australia and effectively working with them in the most sort of informal and perhaps non-contractual way that you can imagine. It's really identifying who is an influencer, as we do across all social media channels, and what value can these people add to the Tourism Australia brand. So for Tourism Australia, I guess it comes down to two things. The first is the quality, the image itself. What does it say about the destination? Will this image relate or trigger an interest and bring people to Australia and to learn more about it and to want to just see more? I guess that kind of media binging, if you like. And the other is influence. So working with Instagrammers who actually already have some notoriety, so they have a big following, and they're able to sort of build upon that.
But I think also when it comes to Instagram, very often, even if you don't maybe not have the following, but maybe just have amazing skills and take amazing images, you still have the chance to actually be chosen by Tourism Australia, because of course you can tag images with a specific hashtag in Instagram, for example hashtag See Australia I think they're using, and then Tourism Australia can then look at all of those images and also choose maybe sort of the hidden gem of that person that's just really passionate about Instagram but maybe doesn't have the following yet. So I think that's also the beauty of sort of really being able to tap into niche as well.
Yeah. Great. Now, there's so many other ways you can work with Instagram, campaigns, product development, and we've also done some things ourselves. So talk a bit about some other approaches that you think that really stand out for you.
Well, I think there's a number of ways that destinations have worked with Instagram. On the one hand side, engagement is always a big one. One of the popular things is putting a frame, in a place, and then they can use that frame to post pictures on Instagram, just with a nice sort of backdrop. Covent Garden have done that, I think, at the beginning of July in London. So that's quite interesting. And Covent Garden are also working with sort of the Andy Warhol of Instagram, I think, Canadian photographer who makes sort of amazing sort of artistic pictures, and they've actually shared them in their floral street just to sort of raise the engagement, also raise the awareness about what they're doing. Now we actually have quite a bit of
we're under attack.
noise.
I think that is a helicopter. Yes, we'll tell you a bit more about the story behind that, because there is a story and it might be something that Instagrammers might want to cover. We'll come back to that. But yeah, Covent Garden, great things
so
there.
I think engagement and awareness are two examples. And then also really tapping into different communities. And a lot of destinations have Instagram contests. What I actually say, if you use a specific hashtag and tag your images with, we're actually going to select an image and you can come maybe to Aruba, maybe to New Zealand, maybe to a different destination and spend a holiday there. So there's different ways, I think, to engaging with that. And of course, at the end of the day, it's also, if you have all of these images and if you get users permission to actually use them yourself, you can use them on your website, you can use them on your social media, and you can also use them for campaigns, and you grow your community like that as well.
Yeah, so I guess it's working with everything that you can, really, not just taking a sort of one line approach. But I think what you've touched on is really important to understand. It's quite often success in Instagram is about taking it out of Instagram.
Yeah.
So What you spoke about with Common Garden is actually saying, well, these are great images, and this is more than just some community that just works on its own. It's also about changing the environment that we create for our visitors, and actually showing images which they feel is something that really kind of they can touch on. I guess what you also talked about really is how to work with Instagrammers. So Instagrammers are sort of becoming more like sort of VIPs, you know, and I would have never seen it myself, to be honest, but you know, the most successful and influential Instagrammers have the biggest following. They really, the brands that work with them in the best way really make them stand out. They give them a platform and they say, you guys are brilliant, we love what you do, and we want you to create or share a creative angle on our business or our experience or our destination. And there's many ways to do that, which we'll sort of get to in a bit. I guess the one that really stands out for me is Copenhagen, because Copenhagen is a destination that we've had the privilege of working with quite a lot over the last couple of years, and we've got to really understand how they work and how they build creativity within their business. Copenhagen, as a tourist board, so Wonderful Copenhagen, really, I guess, went the extra mile in terms of saying, well, we recognize Instagram is a big trend. It's something that gets people excited. It's a brilliant way to share a creative angle on our destination. But how can we make that work for us as a marketing tool? And I think what's interesting, we'll show a video in just a second, is just how Wonderful Copenhagen managed to use that channel and turn it into a much bigger campaign. And what they effectively did is identify the most interesting Instagrammers, work with them, so build relationships with the Instagram community. And it's important to say that it's not tourists, is it? It's actually people who live and they know the city, and
who love Copenhagen, exactly. And I think they also worked with them, I think, for more than 2 years, which is also something I think that we need to notice, because it does take time, I think, just to get the right people, get the right perspectives, and then also start sort of a two-way conversation with them where they say, hey, we love what you do, and building sort of that relationship and that trust, and be able to also use the images for, in the case of Copenhagen, for a campaign that they did.
Yeah, so really brilliant work, and then they took that out and they built that into a media campaign, cross-channel, using different media for different purposes, and actually using that content to create sort of much larger reach marketing, which I think is really interesting. Let's have a look at the video to see just the approach they took, and just a little bit hear from the team there.
My name is Ryle Meyer Sanderstrup. I work for Wonderful Copenhagen.
My name is Thomas Christensen and I work here at Wonderful Copenhagen.
We had to go out and market Copenhagen as a tourist destination towards consumers in the States.
The basic idea behind the This is Copenhagen campaign was to give the audience that we're trying to communicate to a look into the real Copenhagen, which is not the view a tourist organization like us would usually have. This is the perfect medium for telling stories about a city. It's like a little snapshot, a little postcard. Everything within content creation and media has changed. Everybody is doing this as opposed to reading a newspaper. So creating content that is fitted for this is something completely different. Like 140 characters is even more than most people want to read on a screen, and 15 seconds is actually a lot of time to have people to engage with.
When I'm telling about the campaign, I sort of like compare it to people going into a bar. You just don't go into a bar telling people about themselves, and but if you start asking questions about you, what are your interests, what kind of person are you, and then start talking about stuff related to that, then I think you have a much more better, chance of getting to inspire them and getting them to do what you would like them to do.
How great. So I have to say I had a lot of fun going over to Copenhagen and filming that case study, because they're really great guys. And I think what makes their work so successful is not just the campaign itself, but their whole ethos as an organization. They really understand the importance of engaging with these communities and reaching these new trends. Now, if you've been joining us on Periscope, you can still join us. We have Ilaria, our Italian Periscope and events coordinator, who is holding and filming for Periscope behind the scenes. So do join us there. And if you do have some things that you would love to share about what you've been doing on Instagram, don't forget to tweet us, think_tourism, and use the hashtag digital breakfast, and we will definitely look at your tweets and get back to you. So let's now move on to sort of product development, how you build, how you go maybe a little bit further, maybe too far, but I guess if it works for your business, why not? So tell us a little bit about some of the things that you've been seeing.
I think one of the biggest examples is the Hotel 1888 or 1888, I think as some call it.
That's not my favorite hotel in Barcelona, is it?
It is a hotel in Sydney, Australia, unfortunately.
My favorite is 1898, which is in Barcelona. Oh well.
Close, but not quite close enough, yeah. So it's a hotel in Sydney, Australia, and they call themselves the first Instagram hotel in the world. And what they do is they actually offer Instagrammers, but big Instagrammers with a huge following, a free night stay. So all they need to do once they have above 30,000 followers, just email them and they get a free night's stay in the hotel, which is of course great. So they've really recognized that Instagram is a powerful sort of niche social media tool where of course they want lots and lots of images shared. So throughout the entire hotel there's so many ways of sharing images. So on the one hand side you can actually hook up your phone to your tablet in your hotel room, flick through Instagram pictures that you've taken and then share them. They also have, I think, an Instagram selfie booth in their lobby where you can take pictures there. And they also have Instagram walks, and I know that we actually have a video, so maybe we can play the video so you can see the nice hotel and how it looks like and how it all works.
Hotels need to be creative in order to stand apart from the competition. Complete with photo-friendly decor and technology, a new 1888 hotel in Australia advertises that it's the world's most Instagrammable hotel. In the boutique rooms, guests can connect their smartphones and review pictures on a 40-inch TV screen before uploading them to Instagram via Wi-Fi. Each room's iPad allows guests to place a room service order or adjust room temperature. Instagram-based features include Insta Walk Maps, leading guests to local Instagrammable backdrops like the Piermont Bridge, a selfie space serving as a photo booth for guests to pose, and digital screens in reception displaying guests' uploaded images. The building, originally a wool store, was restored for $28 million, resulting in a unique blend of historic windows and iron bark beams together with modern, colorful decor and furnishing.
We'll get back to you on that.
So I think that was a really, really interesting video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and that's a hotel definitely to check out. And if you have more than 30,000 followers, I think you should definitely email them and get a free night stay.
It's a pretty simple concept, right?
Exactly.
But don't get it wrong, it's a lot of work goes into creating something like that. And I think what's really key about that is the PR that comes out of it. I think the Instagram bit is a bit, but the publicity, the fact that we are talking about it now, they did not send us a press release, the fact that we are talking about it now means that actually creating notoriety for being unique and doing something really new is something that's going to work really well for your business. So if you can create the first Instagram something, maybe the first Instagram flight experience, or the first Instagram trip to the moon, or whatever is coming up in the future. I'm obviously referring to Virgin Galactic there.
Yeah.
Please, if you would like us to cover that, send us a ticket. We're very happy to go. Well, maybe not Ramona. So moving on to our own things. We have been using Instagram ourselves. We do not proclaim to be the most successful brand on Instagram. In fact, for us, it's relatively new that we decided to really focus on it. And also for us, we're using it in a different way because we are not a consumer brand. We are a B2B brand. And so our community is limited in that sense. We're not looking to reach millions of people. But the way in which we've used Instagram, I think, is really interesting. I have to confess, it's also a little bit borrowed from Copenhagen, but with their permission. So they actually initiated the idea of doing Instagram takeovers, and I actually said to the creative team there, this is a really good idea. Do you mind if we borrow it for the digital tourism think tank? And they were flattered, so it's fine. So if you head over to our Instagram today, who do we have on Instagram taking over?
Oh God.
You didn't expect that, did you? It's a destination in Denmark called
Hvide Sande Tourism.
It is a hard one to pronounce,
Yeah.
And so what we're doing is handing over our accounts each week to a different destination within our DMO community. So they have the controls, and we ask them to post several photos a day to share the different unique aspects of how they work. So people can go behind the scenes, they can get a little bit more of a flavor as to how the destinations work. And I think this is a really great way that we're able to both connect with the community more, build more meaningful relationships, but also give something back to the wider destination community, who are actually thinking to themselves, well, I would love to know what's going on in this destination, or how the guys at the DMO in, say, let's visit Kent, for example, where we are right now, how they work. And each destination has opportunity to show more of the personality of themselves and how they work in their team. And so it's really worked out very, very well so far. We're happy with the results, and actually what we've seen is, since we've been doing this, we've got a very steady increase in followers and engagement. And I think this is something, of course, you can't do a takeover because that has been done, but of course it's a good example of how you can think creatively about Instagram and what it can do for you. And do we want to announce what else is coming up now?
I think we should.
Okay, so in the pipeline, we have decided to build on the concept and do a Periscope takeover, and this will be coming to you after the summer.
In October, I think the first week in October, on the Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. Go to our website today, because we have an article in our opinion section about it. And what we will do is, if you're really keen on periscoping your destination and how you work inside your office, outside your office, meeting different people, then contact us, and you can be part of our not 24-hour Periscope, but
that would be a Skyscanner.
But our own DMO takeover on Periscope.
And don't forget, you can join us on Periscope if you want to see behind the scenes. Ilaria, our Italian Periscoper, is behind the camera, holding the phone to Periscope everything. So back to strategy. Talk to me a little bit, Ramona, about how you might approach creating Instagram experiences that really connect with the right type of people and give something different.
Well, I think on the one hand side, really focus on posting regularly. So for Tourism Australia, for example, they understand that, as most of their consumers or target group is working throughout the day, it's a good idea to either post something early in the morning or in the lunch break, or of course after work. That's really when it works best. If you think about different concepts or things that you could do to really take Instagram to the next level, I think Insta walks are a really good way of doing that. So actually inviting different people to go on a walk. A lot of destinations are doing that, and maybe going somewhere that's normally hidden for the public. So they go sort of behind the scenes and taking lots of pictures along sort of a dedicated route. You can also organize Insta meets. So Instagram's community is actually encouraging everybody to create an Insta meet, so a meetup of different Instagrammers, passionate photographers in a location. And I think last month they had one where they, I think, had more than 300,000 people across the world meeting for, I think, Insta Meet 11, I think it was called.
Not all in one place.
Across the entire world, everywhere.
That would be a serious crowd management issue.
City. Yeah, but this is a great way because you can actually meet like-minded people, and of course, if you use a specific hashtag, you also generate so many pictures in one place. So of course, afterwards, if you seek permission, you can of course use them as well. And I think another example that we have more from a brand is something that's called Voda Walk, where they actually took a selected number of bloggers, so that's really more crafted, more focused on really getting that reach and tapping into Instagrammers who already have a huge following. And they actually took them on a helicopter to take lots of pictures from the sky. So maybe that's what the helicopter is for.
Do we have a video for that?
And we have a video
Let's take
for
a
that,
look.
so let's have a look.
All right, so that's really interesting. I think again, what's really interesting there about what they've done is they've made the Instagrammers VIPs, celebrities almost. The video is incredible. I mean, with the helicopter and all of this, I have to say I'm a little bit jealous. And South Africa as a country is a place where all the brands, they really understand the importance of Instagram. There's been many examples of Insta walks, Insta meets and things like this happening in South Africa. And they do it because it's a great way to actually show a very special view on a destination which is very special, and also challenge sort of perceptions which are perhaps negative and create something that's really brilliant. And I think what's really important is when you work with Instagrammers, those really good Instagrammers, you have to give them something back when you work with them, and that will depend on who they are, what they can bring, what they can do. But ultimately, if you're asking people to give their time to share content, create content, then you're looking at a professional relationship, not in the same strict confines that you might have traditionally done with a photographer, but you have to treat them properly. You have to consider the time that they spend and paying them to do that. And working with them in a really sensible way, which allows them to build their creativity and to sort of lend what they can do to you. And of course, what they've done here with Vodacom is they've seen the PR opportunity, so the story that can go beyond the actual activity of the Insta Walk itself, because that's going to create buzz, which is great, but it is going to be limited. But the story, creating the video material, creating the press releases, getting the news out, getting people to watch it again and again, that is the long value that they can really build as part of that. I mentioned before our DMO takeovers, and one thing I forgot to mention is we have a great video for you. So I think it would be really good for us to share a little bit about how we then build on the content that's being created, and actually share it with people in a really nice way, so that people who don't maybe follow us on Instagram can still get an idea for what's going on. So let's have a look at one of our DMO takeover videos. This is what we create at the end of a takeover week. And we've got our video guy this time, Rob Palmer, who has actually shared what he likes about one of the takeovers. So let's have a look.
Hi, I'm Rob from the Digital Tourism Think Tank, and I'd like to thank Visit Wiltshire for this week's DMO takeover. They've been out and about in the countryside, they've been planning their first Insta Meet and testing out the website they've been designing. They've also had a few visitors this week in the form of Lawrence Dallaglio touring the Rugby World Cup and David Cameron. Next week we'll be handing over to Visit Oslo for the next DMO takeover, and if you'd like to get involved to do one, get in touch with us through either social media or our website and we'll get back to you. Thanks a lot, and I hope you have a good weekend. They've also had a few visitors this week in the form of Dave Cameron, and there's David Cameron. Dave. And they've also been checking up on their new website that they've been designing. There's also they've also had
So, we do have our viewers on Periscope. It's up to you which channel you choose to watch. Periscope, where you have a lot of the background noise stronger. It's a very strange morning, actually, isn't it? It's very noisy. I thought it'd be very quiet and I'd hear the birds singing at this time. Obviously not. And obviously people watching on our live stream on our site. But Visit Kent have told us just now. Oh, Visit Ghent. Sorry, but Visit Kent will surely be offering this shortly. Now that the pressure has been added. So Visit Ghent, that's Ghent in Belgium, have told us that if you have more than 30,000 followers on Instagram, they will host you in the city. So quote me on that, and I will deal with it if I'm wrong about that. So head over to Visit Ghent, contact us if you want to do that and you're popular, and we'll put you in touch. So I guess going back to strategy and how to work with Twitter and Instagram, let's think a little bit about the more commercial approaches. So advertising, is this something which has arrived on Instagram yet? I've personally never seen any ads on Instagram, and I think the Instagram community is very passionate. When Facebook bought Instagram, there was a lot of concern. So what's happening with the advertising scene on Instagram?
Well, I think it's really, really interesting because last year, actually, at our Norwegian Digital Travel Conference, we actually had Christiane Wahl, who is the Instagram champion, one of the very, very few ones in Europe. And in one of the calls that we had prior to the event, I actually asked her, is this something that is coming up? Also, do you have a lot of data just in terms of who is using Instagram, how they're using it? A lot of sort of the insights that Facebook, of course, already offers. And back then she said that's not something we're looking at the moment, but of course not openly. So it was really interesting that at the end of last year, I think for the first time in very few markets, they actually soft launched advertising, and the UK was one of them. So for us it was really interesting. So they actually did a couple of things. On the one hand side, just sponsored posts, where all of a sudden you just see a brand so I follow a lot of fashion brands on Instagram. So every now and again, maybe I don't follow a specific designer, and then I see a sponsored post of just an image, and then it's really up to you if you click on it or not. They also have videos that come up as ads, but I have to say, because it's all focused very much on whatever your interests are, if your interests are in food, fashion and cars, then you would not get an advertising of, I don't know, a completely different brand that's not relating to any of your interests.
So it's about relevancy then.
Exactly. And now they've also launched carousel ads, so that's different pictures that just flick through. So I think it's 3 or 4 images at a time that you can see. So it's like a carousel of images that you can see, and very often a lot of fashion brands are doing that, promoting maybe the new men's fashion or a new jacket that's coming in. But also some destinations in Australia are also using them already. So I think Queensland, I think, was one of them, but I'm not 100% sure. But also I think other countries is the US, the UK, I think Brazil. It's 6 in total. And towards the end of this year, they're actually going to open up advertising to more countries. And because it's limited at the moment to very big brands, they're also going to open it up a lot further.
So it'll be very interesting to see what happens there. Yeah, it could go either way. But I think the success then to advertising Instagram is to keep that creativity at the absolute center of how you communicate. Focus on the images, focus on those kind of interesting angles that you can share. So we'll see what happens, but an opportunity for brands certainly to tap into that and to sort of build their own communities with more commercial approaches as well.
And I think eMarketer actually 2 days ago published an article which went to some extent viral, I would say, amongst marketeers, which then said that by 2017 Instagram ad revenue will actually succeed, I think, $2.78 billion US.
Wow.
And that's just amazing. So already there's a forecast that Instagram will probably overtake Facebook and Twitter really, really quickly and will become the next big thing.
That really is incredible. Yeah, I didn't see that coming, I have to say. So that more or less brings us to the close of today's program on Instagram strategy, but there are a couple of things that we should mention. The first is our Digital Tourism Innovation Campus is fast approaching, and if you really are curious to know more about some of the best Instagram campaigns, well, you have to sign up, because we have lots and lots of destinations and experts sharing their experience of running great campaigns, sharing the results of that, and talking a bit more about what goes into that and how they've approached it. And it's a great opportunity to also meet and network with them. So do sign up to the Innovation Campus if you haven't done so already. It's happening in Barcelona on the 19th and 20th of November. We're also running a Thinkathon, which we'll be releasing much more information in the coming weeks about. But that's happening on the 18th of November, also in Barcelona. And we're going to be working with some of the biggest brands and some a huge range of destinations and businesses to build new ideas, to build your campaigns for 2016. That could also be an Instagram campaign. So make sure that you sign up to that as well, and we'll release more information on that in the coming weeks. And the big one that's coming up really soon, we're running a workshop on the GCC market. That's the 6 richest countries in the world, in the Middle East. And the reason we're running this workshop is because we recognize that this is also a huge potential future market for destinations. And one of the big sort of characteristics of this market is it's very mobile first. Instagram especially is a channel which is driving a lot of engagement because it actually offers a way to consume visual media that not all channels are able to offer. So we have some great experts and speakers joining us there. Kumud Sengupta is our market expert who'll be leading that. But we also have a new Middle East report from Focusrite, and Kees Bosselaar is going to be sharing really great insights on that too. So this is definitely a not to miss, hosted very kindly by Geneva Tourism and Conventions on the 3rd of September. So you have to sign up today in Geneva. And I think on that note, we will wrap up and leave you with a little video introducing that, and just say thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back in exactly 2 weeks from now, where we'll be extending this topic further and talking about
developing content perspectives for travel brands. So that's on the 13th of August, 9 o'clock UK time, 10 o'clock Central European time. So we'll see you there.
Join us. Hi, I'm Nick, founder of the Digital Tourism Think Tank. I'm really excited to tell you about our latest event, the GCC Market Workshop, which is taking place in Geneva on the 3rd of September. I hope you'll be able to join us. This workshop has been made possible thanks to the really generous support of Geneva Tourism and Conventions, who really believe in the importance of the Middle East market and want to make sure that their industry know everything about how to tap into it. Now, the GCC countries make up 6 countries in the Middle East, which are the 6 most richest countries in the entire world. And this is a really lucrative outbound travel market to tap into.
The one-day special event is organized by DTT and will bring together a range of GCC experts from across the industry to share their insights and knowledge with you. Geneva Tourism and Conventions Foundation, Switzerland Tourism, ETOA and Focusrite are just some of the big names joining us for the workshop. The program of the day will include a comprehensive workshop on the GCC market led by Kumud Sengupta from Market Vision, a Dubai-based research and consultancy services firm,
who will be taking you through the day and talking and educating you on about every single aspect of the GCC market, from how to develop the right product for the market to how to communicate and engage with people in the right way, and also talking about the travel habits and behaviors. Out of this workshop, you should have some really concrete takeaways that you can go ahead and put into place. But we've also got some great online leaders taking part too. We have Kees Bosselaar from Focusrite, who'll be sharing their latest Middle East market report, which has only just been released, and they're going to be sharing insights with you for the very first time. And we also have the most respected Danish Farron, who is the founder of an agency called GCC, who has developed some of the most exciting travel brands in the Middle East. some of the brands that you will surely know about, and he'll be sharing his great insight into the nuances that this market has compared to the rest of the world. So I hope you'll be able to join us on the 3rd of September. If you're a member of Geneva's tourism industry, you can take advantage of this brilliant discounted rate that's made possible thanks to Geneva Tourism and Conventions of just 250 Swiss francs. And if you're a member of any other major industry organization that's recognized by us, you can get a great rate of just 395 francs. So with that great price and some really key learnings for you to get your teeth stuck into, I hope we will see you in Geneva on the 3rd of September.